Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I am Rory McLennan coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. On Tuesday, Pope Francis issued a decree to strengthen the fiscal accountability of foundations and other legal bodies operating within the Vatican. These entities will also be referred to as juridical persons. They will not only be overseen by their individual institutions, but also governed by organisations like the Secretariat for the Economy. Within 3 months of the motu proprio coming into effect on December the 8th, existing instrumental juridical persons must abide by its requirements. A law that expands the motu proprio's application to Vatican City-State entities was also published by the Pontifical Commission for the Vatican City-State. In his apostolic letter, Pope Francis underlined the importance of foundations and other affected organisations in achieving the goals of the curial institutions working under the successor of Peter's ministry. During a meeting of the United Nations Security Council on Tuesday, the plight of children was highlighted. UN members listed a number of startling statistics about the suffering of children and once again urged Moscow to cease the conflict in Ukraine. There are reports that 2/3 of all Ukrainian children have been displaced so far, with 2,500 schools being either destroyed or damaged. More than 5 million children are unable to attend school because of the ongoing conflict. US Ambassador to the UN Lisa Carty said President Putin has focused his ire and fire on Ukraine's civilian population, with children unable to go to school and medical professionals unable to treat the sick. Furthermore, the ambassador to Mexico said 1.5 million children are at risk of suffering from depression, post-traumatic stress and other conditions. Pro-life and free speech campaigners in the United Kingdom are awaiting a historic ruling from the Supreme Court about censorship zones around abortion facilities. The Abortion Services Safe Access Zones Northern Ireland Bill was approved by the Northern Irish Assembly in March. However, out of concern that it was incompatible with fundamental freedoms guaranteed in the European Convention on Human Rights, Attorney General Dame Brenda King referred the measure to the Supreme Court. The proposed law forbids both direct and indirect pro-life influence within 100 metres of an abortion facility. It would penalise silent or quiet prayer and the distribution of pamphlets outlining women's rights to alternatives to abortion. The Supreme Court's ruling is expected to have an impact on how comparable laws will be drafted in Scotland and at Westminster. On Monday, a rights group said Iran had killed more than 500 prisoners in 2022, far more than last year. Iran Human Rights, also known as IHR, a Norwegian organisation, reported that at least 504 individuals have now been put to death in Iran this year, and it was still trying to corroborate the cases of more people who were allegedly hanged. The statistic is released as worries mount that authorities may use the death sentence frequently to punish protesters in the anti-regime demonstrations that have been going on since September. Rights groups have also expressed alarm over the number of women executed in Iran, often on charges of murdering partners or relatives in abusive relationships. IHR said that the number of people executed this year is also the highest in 5 years. According to its data, at least 303 people were executed in 2021, that being a 25% increase compared to 267 in 2020. In the United States, the Trenton Municipal Court has dismissed charges against 4 pro-life activists, including Catholic priest Father Fidelis Mashinsky, for engaging in a Red Rose rescue campaign at an abortion clinic on December the 22nd in 2018. The 4 were charged with defiant trespass by the police for their rescue efforts. Thomas More Society Special Counsel Christopher Ferrara, who represented the pro-lifers, said that the dismissal of all charges against the courageous pro-life advocates brings to an end the long saga of this case. He added, "One can only admire the willingness of these 4 to make an offering of their own bodies as prisoners to save the unborn." Father Mashinsky expressed his gratitude to Thomas More Society and Christopher Ferrara following the court's ruling. The Catholic Bishop of Nigeria's Sokoto Diocese has claimed that Christians have endured years of extreme stress. Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka stated that in some parts of the country where religious fanaticism is prevalent, Christians feel merely tolerated. He said this in his speech at the National Interreligious Conference in Kano State. The prelate said that Christians do not feel a sense of belonging despite their enormous contributions in the areas of business and education. The Catholic bishop said that in Nigeria, especially in the northern parts of the country, Christians continue to endure unimaginable suffering. He said there is a need to protect the rights of all faiths in Nigeria and added that the rights to practice our faiths should be adequately protected. Concerns have been raised over unrestrained violence in Haiti. Father Antonio Menegon, a chameleon missionary, said that he is heartbroken by the humanitarian disaster that has struck Haiti and called it a catastrophe. He said that armed gangs rule the roost, controlling vast swathes of territory. The prices of primary goods such as food, fuel and medicines have more than tripled. The looting and burning of fuel depots, as well as supermarkets, churches and other international humanitarian organisations are common. One hospital after another is closing because of the lack of diesel, electricity, food and medicines. Meanwhile, advocates have applauded the extension of temporary protected status for Haitian migrants residing in the United States. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas announced the extension of the status for Haitian migrants residing in the US by an additional 18 months, from February the 4th in 2023 to August the 3rd in 2024. Marking the beginning of the Christmas season, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, His Beatitude Pier Battista Pizzaballa, met with several Palestinian families and children at his diwan. The events were organised by the Director of the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem Social Services Department, Dima Kuri, and department members. The meeting was preceded by entertainment programmes for children, comprising games and activities led by a youth group from Zababdeh at the St. Saviour Monastery. The children sang carols and presented the Patriarch with poems and drawings. This was followed by the arrival of Santa Claus, who distributed gifts. The meeting then concluded with the Patriarch's blessing. Hundreds of thousands of women are expected to participate in the worldwide Women's Rosary, which will take place on December the 8th, that being the Feast of the Immaculate Conception of the Virgin. Women from all over the world will come together for the first Rosary campaign, inspired by the influence of the Men's Rosary and in response to attacks on the faith. The campaign originated in Colombia and has gained momentum around the world. It intends to publicly unify women in support of families, mothers, churches and motherhood, while also proclaiming their status as the Blessed Virgin Mary's daughters. The pursuit of peace, which only God can provide, and the firm belief that every human being is equal in dignity are two further goals of this Rosary effort. Iraqi President Dr. Abdul Latif Jamal Rashid received Chaldean Patriarch Cardinal Louis Raphael Sacco at the Baghdad Palace last week. To establish security and stability and safeguard the foundations of peaceful coexistence, the President emphasised the importance of joining ranks and combining efforts for the same. Furthermore, he indicated that the unity of Iraqis is the main pillar for consolidating true citizenship that supports civil and community peace. The President then complimented the Christians in the Middle Eastern country for their sacrifice and steadfast commitment to their national identity, highlighting their valuable contributions to the country's development. Cardinal Sacco expressed his support to the President for advancing justice and equality for all people and establishing peace and stability. A Filipino interfaith dialogue group has urged people to observe Advent as a time of reconciliation and peace in the Philippines and worldwide. The Silsila dialogue movement, comprising both Muslims and Christians, works as a national instrument for peace and dialogue. The group's Advent message has called civilians to be agents of peace in a world that suffers from numerous atrocities. The group spoke at the end of the Week of Peace in Mindanao, organised by the Filipino government. In addition, the dialogue group extended an invitation to Christians and members of other religions to participate in Advent by demonstrating unity and encouraging acts of peace. The movement, started by missionary Father Sebastiano Dambra, is active in the Muslim-majority Bangsamoro Autonomous Region of the Philippines. A Christian TV series portraying the life of Jesus Christ and his followers will be shown in many more nations through a new partnership. The Chosen will partner with Come and See Foundation and will be translated into 600 languages to reach yet more people. In addition, the non-governmental organisation will subtitle the series in 500 other languages and dub the same into 100 languages. As of now, Season 1 has been dubbed in 12 languages and subtitled in 62. Season 2 has been dubbed in 7 languages with 20 language subtitles. Millions have watched the series that portrays the life of Jesus from a new perspective. Luxury sports car manufacturer Ferrari will support the restoration of a fresco that is of great importance to Italian Catholics. The restoration of the fresco representing the Virgin Mary seated on a throne with the child Jesus, accompanied by a historical portrait of St. Francis, will begin in January in 2023 and will last for a year. Sergio Fussetti, the head restorer at the Basilica of St. Francis of Assisi, and a team from Tecnireco are leading the restoration project in collaboration with the Umbria Archaeology, Fine Art and Landscape Authority. The Majesty of Assisi is a significant piece of art that was created by Italian painter Ceni di Peppo. The painting is renowned for its large representation of the Virgin Mary enthroned, as well as for including one of the first portraits of St. Francis, which is supposed to have been created based on the descriptions of people who knew him well. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us again tomorrow for more, and do remember, you can always visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.